What up, y'all? It's week 8, the Madden curse. We're going to do some matchup previews and predictions. And I'm also going to do a quick midseason recap. We did a poll on who's going to win the league, who's going to be the SACKO for the year. Brent narrowly edged out Fat for midseason prediction as who's going to be the champ. And T narrowly edged out myself for SACKO. Personally, I think T has a pretty good team. I think he needs to manage it a little bit better. I just looked at his roster. He's got one open roster spot, which there's no reason to ever have an open roster spot. And one of his guys is already out for the week, so he could put him in IR and have 2 roster spots open. And he's got a backup kicker, so that's 3 roster spots that he could use. For instance, for running backs. Now, I know that there's not many guys out there on the waiver now, but I mean, anyone's better than nothing, right? So, and he's got a solid group of wide receivers. DeAndre Swift has not played pretty much all year. I mean, and then um, um, what's that guy's name? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been a decent waiver wire pickup. He's got 3 quarterbacks. I feel like he can make some moves, fix up his running backs a little bit. I think he actually has a pretty decent team. Jamar Chase, DeAndre Swift. I mean, that could get you places. So T, I'm just putting it out there. I got faith. I think you could get yourself out of it, but it's gonna take a little bit of work, okay, buddy? So let's start by filling out your roster. Let's go to the picks, player. Oh no, let's go to playoffs. I'm gonna predict who's gonna be in the playoffs this year. The 1 seed, I've got Brent. In the 2 seed, I've got Fat, and in the 3 seed, I've got Dan. This is close. Fat has 2 games left against Brent. Um, Dan has already played Fat. He's got 1 game with Brent left. But Fat has only 1 loss on the season, whereas Dan already has 3. So I'm thinking unless Fat were to have some injury to Saquon or Eckler, he's probably going to walk away with that 2 seed. And Dan can come in at the 3. Top 2 seeds are getting buys this week, or this season. So the top 2 seeds are obviously nice to have, right? In the 4th spot, I've got JT. In the 5th spot, I know he made a joke about riding Breece Hall to the playoffs, and then he went out for the season. I still think he has a chance to get there. Um, he's got strong wide receivers, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with his running backs, but I do think Jason can still get in. So I've got him at the 5 seed, and in the 6 seed, I really didn't want to do this. It's just one of those things when you're doing the videos. I hate to pick myself, but I kept looking at these rosters, man, and I just I can't pick against them. I really do think that this team is poised to make a run, so I've got myself in the 6th seed. Now, if I lose a game, it's probably over. I mean, pretty much my playoffs are right now, but I've got a lot of running back depth. I've got 2 solid wide receivers if they can both ever play together, and Mike Evans and Amon St. Brown. Um, we've got depth. Tom Brady, he should figure some things out, right? He might retire. I just saw something about Giselle gave him an ultimatum. He might just retire before this game tonight, and then I might be starting Russell Wilson. So, that could change a whole lot of things. But assuming all these guys play and all these guys can get back to healthy, I do think I have a chance to make a run. Obviously, like I said, 1 loss that might KO me, but we're still keeping the faith. Let's go to the matchups. First matchup, myself versus Frank. Let's see. Projections. Frank is around 87 points to my 115. That's gonna go up 20 points because he's gonna put Stephon Diggs and Devin Singletary in the lineup. Darren Waller's questionable. Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has been questionable since that week 1. I feel like I don't know if he's played since then. But yeah, the projections that'll change. Um, Frank's currently 3-4, and myself 1-6. Um, Frank's current lineup: Jacoby Brissett, Joe Mixon. We're just gonna go ahead and make these subs for him because I don't see any reason why they wouldn't happen. Devin Singletary, DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Will Disley, and then I assume he'll be flexing Chase Claypool or maybe Devontae Parker. On my side, Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is questionable, but they're saying he should be playing. So, assuming he's playing, Dallas Goedert, and currently flexing Tony Pollard, praying for that Ezekiel Elliott news that he sits out. Because if he does, my boy Tony Pollard's going to go. But either way, I think he'll have a pretty good game. He had over 60% of the snaps last week and had a pretty decent game. Um, if not, if Zeke starts, I do have some other guys I could flex in there, but I may just roll with Tony again, baby. I do like myself in this matchup. Um, again, this is to kickstart the playoff run, and if not, this will be to just put me back in the SACKO, and then we'll pretend I never picked myself as sixth, and I'll apologize. Um, but I've got myself there. Second matchup of the week: Brent versus Fat. 7-0 versus 6-1. Projected total 121 on Brent's side to 114 on Fat's side. On Brent's side, he's got Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mark Andrews, Chris Olave, and on Fat's side, Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Evan Ingram, Darnell Mooney. We got some Bears in the lineup. Whoa. Let's see what kind of buys we had that made that happen. Austin Eckler. Okay, that makes sense. Gerald Everett's on a buy. Pretty decent tight ends so far. On Brent's side, Patrick Mahomes and Juju are on a buy. Now, on Brent's side, Jalen Waddle and Mark Andrews are both listed as questionable. Fat Scott Tyler Lockett listed as questionable. I'm going to assume that they're all going to play. And I just looking at the matchups, I like Brent to win this. Derrick Henry's playing Houston. I think Houston's given up like 30 points to every running back that's played him. I mean, go look at who, like, Josh Jacobs just played him and put up 36. I'm pretty sure the guy before that put up like 30 something points. Houston cannot stop running the ball. Derrick Henry might have 50 points. I don't know. And then you've got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle versus the Detroit Lions, and Tua's healthy. I mean, Henry, Hill, and Waddle might go off for 100 points on their own. And then, of course, Mark Andrews versus Tampa Bay. I mean, Mark Andrews is always solid. He's just got to be healthy. And then on Fat's side, Saquon versus Seattle is probably a good matchup. Joe Burrow versus anybody at this point seems like a good matchup. David Montgomery versus Dallas is a tough matchup, and he's losing reps to Khalil Herbert. Christian Kirk versus Denver is also a tough matchup. Patrick Surtain has been a lockdown corner. Tyler Lockett is questionable, and he's playing the Giants, who also have a lockdown corner, and DK Metcalf might not be playing. So all of this is not to say that Fat doesn't have a great team. It's just to say I think it's a combination of uh, it just comes down to the matchups. I think Brent has really good matchups this week, and I think Fat has a lot of tough matchups this week. So for that, I'm going to pick Brent, and I'm also going to pick Brent as the lock of the week because of those matchups. Now we'll see what happens, but that's what I said. The next matchup is Jason versus Jordan. Jason's 3-4, projected to score 112. Jordan's 4-3, projected to score 103. Jordan's side, Lamar Jackson, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Michael Pittman Jr., Jerry Jeudy, Pat F., who's questionable, and Wandale Robinson. Jason's side, Kyler Murray, Miles Sanders, Brian Robinson, Devontae Adams, who's listed as questionable, DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Ertz, Terry McLaurin in the flex. What we got on bye? Anything? Mike Williams is on a bye and he's out. They're saying that that could be. Um, I think last I saw was around 4 weeks. Um, so that could be tough there. Rashad Bateman's questionable. That guy's been questionable all season. Um, Nothing really else. Harrison Butker's on a bye, so that might hurt him. Jason's side, nothing really, nothing real, no buys. Um, I do like Jason in the matchup. As I mentioned to you, I think that I think his team can make the playoffs. I think Adams and Hopkins could be. I mean, that could be the best 1-2 wide receiver combo in the league. I haven't dived into it, but um, I'd say if it's not, it's up there. And then of course he's got that stack with Kyler Murray. Miles Sanders has been playing very well, and then Brian Robinson, assuming he takes over that role in Washington, potentially could get up there in the RB1 range. So for the week, um, I do like Jason in this matchup. Just haven't seen enough to truly trust Najee Harris. Aaron Jones has been inconsistent too. I mean, he looks like he's clearly the best back in Green Bay, but for whatever reason they're not going to the well every single week. So maybe that changes this week and they just keep feeding the ball over and over. I believe last week he went off, so but they lost too, so I don't know. What the hell do I know, man? But I like Jason in this matchup. Um, the next matchup that we have is T versus Scott. T versus Scott. Now, this is going to assume that DeAndre Swift plays and Jamar Chase plays and TJ Hawkinson plays because they're all listed as questionable. But currently, Trent T is 1-6 with myself, and Scott is 3-4. Scott has Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Rex Burkhead, DK Metcalf, who's questionable, as I mentioned. He may not be playing. Jacoby Myers, Noah Fant, Amari Cooper. On his bench, Keenan Allen, who's questionable. Oh, he's on a bye. And CEH is on a bye as well. T's bench, as I mentioned, open roster spot, kicker, wide receiver that's out. Not much that he could sub out of at this point, but what he has in the lineup, I do like. Daniel Jones is going against Seattle. DeAndre Swift versus the Dolphins. Even if the Dolphins go up, if Swift is playing a full game, I mean they're going to throw him the ball. I would think he'll get screens. Like they'll make use of him. Benjamin. I don't know if James Conner is still out or not. I'm gonna assume that Eno's got the starting role for this week. Um, Jamar Chase is questionable as well. I'm assuming he's playing. I mean, the guy just went off last week. Chris Godwin's playing Baltimore tonight. T.J. Hawkinson um, versus Miami, and then T. Higgins versus Cleveland. I am going to pick T back to back. Last week, T would have won if he had started Daniel Jones. He's got Daniel Jones in the lineup this week. I think he can get it done. I think he can get it done. And that's me predicting the bottom two teams in the league to both get a win this week. We'll see if it happens. Next matchup, Marshall versus Dan. Marshall's projected for 112. Dan's projected for 115. Dan's got Kirk Cousins, Damon Pierce, Kenneth Walker, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Taysom Hill, Ramondre Stevenson going up against Marshall's Jalen Hurts, Alvin Kamara, James Robinson. He's going in on him week one. He is a Jet now. He just got traded. Debo Samuel, who's questionable, A.J. Brown, and George Kittle, and Drake London in the flex. On the benches, don't see any buys on Marshall's side. Don't really see any buys on Dan's side either. Um, between the two, I like Dan in this matchup. Um, just he's pretty deep with those running backs. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson are going up against Arizona. That should be a pretty good matchup for them. And then, of course, he's got CeeDee Lamb still um, as his wide receiver, too. So I just think he's got a pretty balanced squad there. And I do think he will take the victory. Our last matchup of the week is Alex versus JT. Let's ride. Somebody just picked up Mr. Let's Ride. I wonder who it was. um, Alex is projected to score 112 points. JT is projected to score 112 points. Alex is 2-5. JT's 4-3. Yo, we got an Andy Dalton alert on JT's side. He's starting Andy Dalton, Josh Jacobs, who's questionable, Jamal Williams, who, if DeAndre Swift is playing a full game, may not want to play Jamal Williams. I think the guy fumbled twice last week. Fumbled one at the goal line. That usually puts you in the doghouse. So we'll see. Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, tight end Dalton Schultz, flexing Curtis Samuel. On his bench, he currently has Zeke. He's probably hoping for the good news that Zeke's going to play. I'm not. I hope he stays on the bench and he's out. It's time for Pollard season, baby. Get this old guy up out of here. Aaron Rodgers is questionable on the bench as well. His big buy is Travis Kelce and Justin Herbert. So he does have some tough pieces missing there. On Alex's side, no buys, just terrible picks on his bench. Kyle Pitts, Allen Robinson, questionable James Conner. Up, so there he is, still questionable. We'll see if he plays. In his lineup, Geno, Dalvin Cook, Raheem Mostert, Brandon Cooks, Alan Lazard, who's questionable, Dawson Knox, and Nick Chubby Chubb. um, I like JT in the matchup. Dalton's going against the Raiders. I mean, he put up 26 points against the Cardinals and threw two pick sixes. So, he could put up some points. Um, this is definitely contingent on Josh Jacobs playing. He's been a monster all season. He's going to need, that 20, 30 points, whatever Jacobs can get, especially if Jamal Williams is going to be his RB2, who, like I said, if Swift is getting a full workload, Jamal Williams has definitely been serviceable, but you would think you're gonna feed your guy, who's definitely Swift over there. Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's money every week, right? So I like JT in that matchup. Um, those are the matchups. We'll be back next week, so you guys can laugh at how wrong I was on these picks, or maybe we'll get a few. Maybe we'll do it. But that's it, fellas. Good luck, except for Frank, because you're playing me. Sorry, don't want to. I need it, baby. Madden curse.